Dune, Part 2, released in 2024, is not just a sequel. It is the powerful continuation of an epic science fiction saga that explores destiny, power, survival, and faith on a massive scale. Directed by Denis Villeneuve, this film completes the second half of Frank Herbert's legendary novel, Dune, bringing audiences deeper into the harsh desert world of Arrakis. If the first film was about arrival and awakening, this second chapter is about transformation and consequence. The story follows Paul Atreides, played by Timothée Chalamet, as he embraces his new identity among the Fremen people of Arrakis. After the betrayal and destruction of House Atreides in the first film, Paul is no longer just a displaced noble heir. He is becoming something much greater and far more dangerous. The prophecy surrounding him grows stronger, and so does the fear of what he might become. This movie expands everything from the first chapter. The action is bigger. The emotional stakes are deeper. The political tension is sharper. While the first film focused heavily on world building and atmosphere, this sequel dives fully into rebellion, war, and destiny. The desert is no longer just a setting. It becomes a battleground where empires clash and belief systems collide. At its heart, Dune, Part 2, is about choice. Paul must decide whether to follow the path laid out by prophecy or try to avoid becoming the figure that many believe he is meant to be. The Fremen see him as a potential messiah. The powerful Bene Gesserit sisterhood sees him as the result of generations of secret breeding programs. The ruling emperor fears him as a political threat. Each group projects their expectations onto Paul, but the film asks one powerful question. Does he truly control his destiny, or is he trapped by it? The desert planet Arrakis remains central to the story. It is the only source of spice, the most valuable substance in the universe. Spice extends life, enhances mental abilities, and allows space travel. Whoever controls Arrakis controls everything. That makes the planet the most important strategic location in the galaxy. As Paul aligns himself with the Fremen, he also positions himself directly against the Harkonnens and the Emperor, who seek to maintain control over spice production. Visually, the film is grand and immersive. Massive sandworms rise from the dunes. Armies clash under burning suns. The scale feels mythic, almost biblical. But beneath the spectacle lies a deeply personal journey. Paul's relationship with Chani, played by Zendaya, adds emotional weight to the story. Through her, we see a more human side of him. She grounds him even as he begins to rise to legendary status. The introduction of new characters, including Phaedrotha Harkonnen, played by Austin Butler, intensifies the conflict. He represents chaos and brutality, serving as a dark mirror to Paul. Their eventual confrontation feels inevitable from the very beginning. Dune, Part 2, is not simply about good versus evil. It explores how power can corrupt even noble intentions. It questions the idea of heroes and challenges the audience to think about the cost of fanaticism and blind faith. The film moves with confidence, blending political drama, spiritual themes, romance, and large-scale warfare into one sweeping cinematic experience. This sequel delivers on the promise of the first film while pushing the story into darker and more complex territory. It is a science fiction epic that feels timeless, combining intimate character moments with universe-shaping decisions. This is only the beginning of our deep exploration of the film. Dune, Part 2, was released in 2024 and directed by Denis Villeneuve. It serves as the direct continuation of Dune, released in 2021, completing the adaptation of the second half of Frank Herbert's 1965 science fiction novel. The film was produced by Legendary Pictures and distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures. It is part of a planned cinematic universe centered around Herbert's expansive world. The movie falls under multiple genres, including science fiction, epic drama, political thriller, and adventure. It carries a serious and intense tone, maintaining the grounded realism that Villeneuve established in the first film. Unlike many modern blockbusters, it avoids humor-driven storytelling and instead focuses on atmosphere, tension, and character-driven conflict. Denis Villeneuve returned not only as director but also as co-writer of the screenplay. The script was written by Villeneuve and John Spates. Their goal was to stay faithful to the source material while making the story accessible to mainstream audiences. The film adapts the latter half of the original Dune novel, focusing on Paul Atreides' rise among the Fremen and his path toward confrontation with the Harkonnens and the Emperor. The cinematography was handled by Greg Fraser, who also worked on the first film and won an Academy Award for his work. The visual presentation of Dune, Part 2, continues the large-scale, immersive style established earlier. The film was shot using a combination of digital cameras and IMAX formats, emphasizing scale and detail. Many scenes were specifically designed to be experienced on the biggest screens possible. The musical score was composed by Hans Zimmer. He returned to expand the soundscape he created for the first film. Zimmer's music blends orchestral arrangements with experimental vocal elements and unusual instruments to create a unique sound that reflects the harsh environment of Arrakis and the spiritual undertones of the story. The runtime of the film is approximately 166 minutes, making it slightly longer than the first installment. The extended runtime allows the story to develop its characters more deeply and build toward its climactic battle sequences without feeling rushed. The main cast includes Timothée Chalamet as Paul Atreides, Zendaya as Chani, Rebecca Ferguson as Lady Jessica, Javier Bardem as Stilgar, Josh Brolin as Gurney Halleck, and Stellan Skarsgård as Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. New additions to the cast include Austin Butler as Phaedrotha Harkonnen, Florence Pugh as Princess Irulan, Christopher Walken as Emperor Shaddam IV, and Lea Seydoux as Lady Margot Fenring. Each new character plays a significant role in expanding the political and emotional scope of the story. Production for Dune, Part 2, took place across multiple international locations. Filming occurred in Hungary, Jordan, Italy, and the United Arab Emirates. The desert landscapes were essential to maintaining authenticity and realism. The filmmakers relied heavily on practical environments rather than green screens whenever possible to create a grounded visual experience. The budget for the film was reported to be around $190 million, making it one of the most expensive films of 2024. The investment reflects the large-scale production design, visual effects, global filming locations, and star-studded cast. The movie received a PG-13 rating in the United States. This rating reflects intense battle sequences, thematic material, and some violence, but nothing excessively graphic. The film aims to appeal to both adult audiences and younger viewers who appreciate epic science fiction. Dune, Part 2, premiered internationally before its wide theatrical release. The film was initially scheduled for release in late 2023 but was delayed due to industry strikes that impacted promotional activities. Eventually, it was released in early 2024, generating significant anticipation among fans of the first film and readers of the novel. Critically, the film was praised for its scale, performances, direction, and visual storytelling. Many critics highlighted the way it balanced action with thoughtful character development. Audiences also responded positively, especially appreciating the expanded role of Zendaya's character and the intensity brought by Austin Butler as Phaedrotha. The film continues the thematic focus on destiny, power, faith, and the consequences of leadership. While it concludes the main storyline of the original novel, it also leaves room for potential future adaptations of Herbert's sequels. In summary, Dune, Part 2, stands as a large-scale cinematic event, combining strong direction, powerful performances, and technical excellence. It completes a two-part narrative that was carefully planned from the beginning, delivering a visually stunning and emotionally complex continuation of Paul Atreides' journey. Imagine a galaxy ruled not just by armies and politics, but by prophecy, betrayal, and the most valuable substance in existence. The story begins in the year 10,091, with Princess Irulan, daughter of the Padishah Emperor Shaddam IV, quietly writing in her journal. Her words are not filled with pride, but with unease. She reflects on a terrible betrayal, her father's secret alliance with House Harkonnen to destroy House Atreides. Without warning, without a declaration of war, the Harkonnens descended upon Arrakis in the dead of night. By dawn, House Atreides had fallen. Duke Leto was dead, and the world believed his son Paul had perished with him. The Emperor had allowed it all to happen, hiding behind the brutality of Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. But in the endless deserts of Arrakis, death is not always the end of a story. Paul Atreides survived. Alongside his mother, Lady Jessica, he found refuge with the Fremen, the hardened desert dwellers who have mastered survival on the harshest planet in the universe. Led by Stilgar, the Fremen bring Paul and Jessica to their hidden stronghold, Sietch Tabor. Suspicion hangs thick in the air. Some Fremen believe the outsiders are spies or burdens. But others see something more, signs of an ancient prophecy. Legends whisper of a mother and son from the outer world who will lead the Fremen to paradise. Stilgar, steady and devout, believes Paul may be that long-awaited figure. Meanwhile, Harkonnen soldiers scour the desert, hunting the Fremen. But technology means little against warriors who can disappear beneath the sands and summon giant sandworms at will. The Fremen ambush the invaders with ruthless efficiency. In the desert, water is life, and life is sacred. The Fremen drain the water from the bodies of the fallen Harkonnen soldiers, adding it to their hidden reservoirs. Nothing is wasted. The empty corpses are left for the desert, devoured by colossal worms that rule Arrakis. It is a brutal but balanced ecosystem, one outsiders can never fully understand. In Arrakis, the Harkonnen capital, Baron Vladimir Harkonnen grows restless. The spice, the precious resource that allows space travel and extends life, must flow. Without it, the Emperor's wrath will turn against House Harkonnen. The Baron orders his nephew Rabban to crush the Fremen completely. Extermination is the only acceptable outcome. But Rabban underestimates the desert fighters, and every attempt to suppress them ends in humiliation and bloodshed. Back in Sietch Tabor, Paul faces a different battle, the battle for belief. The Fremen Council debates whether he and Jessica should be sent back into the desert. Stilgar stands firm, pledging his life to Paul. Gradually, Paul realizes something powerful. If he can unite the Fremen, he can strike at the heart of spice production. And if he controls the spice, he can confront the Emperor himself. Jessica, meanwhile, is called to undertake a terrifying ritual. The tribe's dying Reverend Mother, Ramallo, demands a successor. Jessica must drink the water of life, a deadly blue liquid extracted from drowned sandworms. For men and untrained women, it is fatal. But Jessica is Bene Gesserit, trained in ancient mental and physical disciplines. She drinks the poison and, through sheer will, transforms it within her body. She survives. In doing so, she inherits the memories of all previous Reverend Mothers. But there is a shocking consequence. Her unborn daughter, Alia, awakens in the womb, sharing the ancestral memories before birth. The tribe is horrified, yet convinced that Jessica is part of a divine plan. Whispers of prophecy spread. Some Fremen believe deeply in the legend of the Lisan al-Gaib, the voice from the outer world who will transform Arrakis into a green paradise. Others, especially in the north, dismiss it as superstition planted long ago by the Bene Gesserit to manipulate the people. Among the skeptics is Chani, a fierce Fremen warrior. She suspects the prophecy is a myth, yet she begins to see something different in Paul, not a conqueror, but a fighter willing to stand beside her people. Paul himself rejects the idea that his mother's survival was a miracle. He reveals the truth about Bene Gesserit training, about poison transmutation. He does not want to rule. He wants justice. He wants vengeance for his father. Jessica urges him towards something greater, the path of the Kwisatz Haderach, a prophesied male who can access both male and female ancestral memories and see across space and time. But Paul resists. He senses that such power comes with unimaginable consequences. As months pass, Paul immerses himself in Fremen life. He learns their language, their ways, their discipline. He becomes a Fidakan warrior. He rides a sandworm, one of the largest ever seen, an act that cements his growing legend. Victories against spice harvesters multiply. With every raid, the myth grows stronger. Paul adopts new names. Usul, meaning strength of the pillar, and Muad'Dib, named after a desert mouse that survives against impossible odds. Far away, Princess Irulan watches events unfold with curiosity and concern. She wonders if Paul Atreides might still be alive. If he is, the truth about her father's betrayal could ignite rebellion across the great houses. The Emperor's throne would tremble. And on Arrakis, beneath twin suns and endless dunes, destiny begins to take shape in ways none of them can yet control. As Paul's legend spreads across the desert, the political tension in the galaxy tightens like a coiled spring. Baron Vladimir Harkonnen grows increasingly anxious. The spice raids led by this mysterious desert warrior known as Muad'Dib are crippling production. One devastating attack destroys 80% of the latest spice reserves. The Emperor will not tolerate failure, and the Baron knows it. Furious with Rabban's incompetence, he replaces him with his far more dangerous nephew, Feyd-Rautha. Unlike Rabban's brute force, Feyd is cunning, charismatic, and cruel in ways that are far more unsettling. At the Emperor's palace, Princess Irulan proposes a dangerous strategy: let the conflict on Arrakis escalate into full-scale war. Then, when chaos reaches its peak, the Emperor can arrive as a savior and restore order. It is a calculated move. Yet beneath her political composure, Irulan harbors doubt. She cannot shake the suspicion that Paul Atreides survived. The Reverend Mother at court warns her, if Paul lives and exposes the Emperor's role in the fall of House Atreides, the great houses would rise in rebellion. The throne itself would be at risk. Meanwhile, the Bene Gesserit send Lady Margot Fenring to evaluate Feyd-Rautha. They are always calculating, always breeding bloodlines in pursuit of the ultimate being, the Kwisatz Haderach. Fenring seduces Feyd, studying him carefully. She finds him intelligent, ambitious, but dangerously unstable. Still, she confirms he can be controlled. She secures his genetic line by conceiving his child and reports back that he even murdered his own mother. Feyd is a weapon, but one that must be handled with care. Back on Arrakis, Paul's internal struggle deepens. He and Chani grow closer, their bond forged in battle and shared purpose. Paul fights not as a ruler, but as one of the Fremen. Yet every victory feeds the prophecy. Stilgar speaks openly of Paul as the Lisan al-Gaib. The southern Fremen tribes believe even more fiercely in the legend. Jessica becomes convinced that the south is where destiny must unfold. She travels there, seeking to unite the fundamentalist believers. She wants her unborn child, perhaps the true Kwisatz Haderach, to be born among the most devoted. Paul refuses to follow. His visions haunt him. In flashes of possible futures, he sees a galaxy consumed by holy war, billions dead in his name. He fears becoming a messiah more than he fears death. In one raid, he reunites with Gurney Halleck, his father's loyal warrior, long thought lost. Gurney leads Paul to a hidden stockpile of Atreides' atomic weapons. With 200 elite Fedaykin fighters in the north and thousands more in the south, Paul could seize the planet outright. But Paul hesitates. Every path to power seems to lead to catastrophe. Then Feyd-Rautha strikes. In a calculated assault, he devastates the northern Fremen strongholds. Sietch Tabr falls. Shishakli is brutally killed. Survivors are scattered. The illusion of safety shatters. Forced by loss and necessity, Paul leads the remaining Fremen south to join the Great War Council. In the Southern Temple, surrounded by believers and skeptics alike, Paul makes a choice that will change everything. He drinks the water of life. The act enrages Chani. She knows it is fatal to men. Paul collapses into a coma, suspended between life and death. Jessica, now more prophet than mother, hypnotically compels Chani to save him. In desperation and love, Chani mixes her tears with a drop of the sacred liquid and places it on Paul's lips. Paul awakens transformed. He sees everything, past and future, countless branching possibilities across space and time. He sees a narrow, razor-thin path to victory. He sees Arrakis transformed into a world filled with water. He sees his sister Alia grown and powerful. And he learns a devastating truth. His mother Jessica is the daughter of Baron Harkonnen. The Bene Gesserit placed her with Duke Leto deliberately, hoping to unite the rival bloodlines in their long genetic plan. Paul is the culmination of generations of manipulation. Armed with this knowledge, Paul approaches the Southern Fremen Council not as a hesitant warrior, but as something far more commanding. He speaks their deepest fears and secrets aloud, proving his sight beyond sight. He declares himself the Lisan al-Gaib. The desert erupts in fervor. The prophecy is no longer myth, it is embodied in him. At that moment, the Emperor arrives on Arrakis with Princess Irulan and his elite Sardaukar forces. He intends to reassert control and punish the Harkonnens for their failures. But he underestimates what has been growing in the desert. As he chastises the Baron, the Fremen launch their assault. Using atomics to breach the shield wall and riding colossal sandworms into battle, they overwhelm the Sardaukar. The supposedly invincible Imperial soldiers fall before desert warriors fueled by faith and fury. Paul confronts Baron Harkonnen and kills him, ending the architect of his father's destruction. Gurney leads another assault within Arrakis, intercepting and killing Rabban. The balance of power shifts in a single violent day. The Emperor is captured. But victory is not peace. It is only the beginning. With the Emperor imprisoned and the Harkonnens shattered, Paul Atreides stands at the precipice of absolute power. Yet the galaxy watches from orbit. The great houses have arrived with their fleets, summoned by the Baron before his death. They hover above Arrakis, prepared to invade if necessary. The spice must flow, and they will not surrender it to a desert upstart claiming divine right. Paul understands the leverage he holds. The spice fields are the lifeblood of the Empire. Without spice, interstellar travel collapses. Civilizations would fracture overnight. Standing before the Emperor, Paul makes a demand that shocks everyone. He challenges for the Imperial throne and declares he will marry Princess Irulan to legitimize his claim. Chani watches in silent devastation. The man who swore he did not seek to rule now speaks like an emperor. Irulan, pragmatic and composed, agrees to the marriage on one condition. Her father's life must be spared. The Emperor, humiliated and cornered, has no choice but to surrender. Yet even as he relinquishes the throne, the great houses refuse to recognize Paul's ascendancy. They prepare their fleets for war. Paul does not hesitate. He sends a message to the orbiting houses, a simple but terrifying ultimatum. If they intervene, he will destroy the spice fields. The threat is not empty. With atomics and control of the desert, he can render Arrakis uninhabitable. The galaxy faces an impossible choice: accept Paul or plunge into darkness. Phaedrotha steps forward as the Emperor's champion, volunteering to fight Paul in single combat. It is a final gamble, a chance to restore Harkonnen dominance. The duel is brutal and intimate, two heirs of manipulated bloodlines clashing beneath the desert sun. Fate fights with ferocity and deception, nearly killing Paul. But Paul, guided by his visions, finds the narrow path. He kills Fade, ending the last true Harkonnen threat. The Fremen erupt in celebration, but the cost of this victory hangs heavy in the air. The great houses reject Paul's authority despite the duel. Their ships remain in orbit, defiant. Paul gives the order that seals his fate, and theirs. The Fremen launch captured Sardaukar ships into space to attack the orbiting fleet. The holy war he feared is no longer a vision. It has begun. As Stilgar leads warriors onto the Imperial vessels, Jessica stands with her daughter Alia, reflecting on the unstoppable tide they have unleashed. What began as survival has become revolution. Paul has secured the throne, but at the price of igniting a crusade that will spread across the stars in his name. And Chani? She refuses to kneel. She sees the transformation clearly. The man she loved, who once claimed he only wanted to fight beside her people, now commands them as emperor. The prophecy has consumed him. Without a word, she turns away and walks into the desert. Mounting a sandworm, she rides alone into the endless dunes, choosing freedom over submission. The story closes not with peace, but with inevitability. Paul Muad'Dib Atreides, the Lisan al-Gaib, the Kwisatz Haderach, now emperor of the known universe, stands victorious, but burdened by foresight. He knows billions will die in the coming war. He has chosen the only path he believes leads to survival for his people, yet it demands sacrifice on a galactic scale. Princess Irulan, now his political bride, will chronicle his reign. Jessica will guide from the shadows. Alia will grow into a being unlike any other. And across the cosmos, armies will march under Paul's banner, spreading both liberation and destruction. On Arrakis, once called Dune, the desert winds continue to howl. The sandworms still rise beneath the surface. Water remains the ultimate dream. But the balance has shifted forever. The son of a fallen house has become the most powerful man in existence. Whether he is savior or tyrant will be written in the blood and faith of countless worlds. And so, the legend of Muad'Dib begins, not as a simple tale of revenge, but as the birth of a myth that will reshape the universe. Dune, Part 2, follows a carefully constructed narrative structure that balances personal transformation with large-scale political conflict. The film is divided into clear movements that gradually escalate tension while deepening character stakes. Denis Villeneuve builds the story with patience, allowing emotional weight and strategic decisions to shape the pacing rather than rushing toward action. The opening act functions as a continuation and reorientation. It reestablishes Paul Atreides, played by Timothée Chalamet, and Lady Jessica, played by Rebecca Ferguson, within the Fremen society. Instead of immediately launching into war, the film slows down to show Paul adapting to desert life. This section focuses on integration, survival training, and cultural immersion. The audience watches Paul earn trust rather than automatically command loyalty. This grounding makes the eventual rise feel believable. Parallel to Paul's integration is the political restructuring within House Harkonnen. Baron Vladimir Harkonnen, played by Stellan Skarsgård, recognizes that traditional military control is failing. The introduction of Phaedrotha, played by Austin Butler, marks a shift in the antagonist force. Structurally, this creates a mirrored rise. As Paul grows stronger among the Fremen, Feyd rises within the Harkonnen ranks. The film crosscuts between these developments, building anticipation for their inevitable clash. The first major turning point occurs when Lady Jessica undergoes the Water of Life ritual. This moment shifts the narrative from survival to prophecy. Jessica's transformation reinforces the religious element of the story and increases pressure on Paul. It is no longer only about revenge, it becomes about destiny and spiritual leadership. From this point forward, the story's stakes expand beyond Arrakis. The second act focuses heavily on Paul's internal conflict. His relationship with Chani, played by Zendaya, becomes central to the emotional narrative. Structurally, their bond humanizes the broader political story. Scenes of desert travel, combat training, and quiet conversations are layered between strategic attacks on spice operations. This rhythm allows the film to alternate between intimacy and spectacle without losing cohesion. Midway through the film, the reunion between Paul and Gurney Halleck, played by Josh Brolin, acts as another narrative pivot. It reconnects Paul to his Atreides identity. Up to this point, he has been primarily evolving into a Fremen leader. The return of Gurney reminds him of his heritage and his father's legacy. This dual identity becomes central to the narrative flow. Paul is both desert warrior and noble heir. The Emperor's growing concern introduces a wider political frame. Princess Irulan, played by Florence Pugh, offers insight into imperial anxiety. The narrative now operates on three levels: Fremen resistance, Harkonnen retaliation, and imperial oversight. Villeneuve interweaves these threads carefully, ensuring that each storyline pushes the others forward. The most significant structural turning point arrives when Paul chooses to drink the water of life. This decision marks the shift from reluctant leader to active revolutionary. The near-death sequence slows the pacing dramatically, creating suspense and spiritual intensity. When Paul survives, the narrative accelerates. His clearer visions of the future create urgency. The story transitions into preparation for open war. The final act is structured around convergence. All factions move physically toward Arrakis. The Emperor arrives with his Sardaukar forces. The Harkonnens prepare for consolidation. The Fremen unite under Paul's command. The pacing becomes faster, but still controlled. Large-scale battle sequences are intercut with personal confrontations, preventing the spectacle from overpowering character resolution. The climactic duel between Paul and Phaedrotha serves as the emotional and structural peak. Instead of ending with a massive explosion or wide battlefield shot, the film narrows to a personal fight. This structural choice emphasizes that the larger war is ultimately about individual choices and leadership. After Phaed's defeat, the confrontation with Emperor Shaddam IV becomes the resolution phase. Paul asserts control not only militarily but politically. His agreement to marry Princess Irulan completes the power transition while introducing emotional fallout with Chani. The narrative does not end with celebration but with complexity. The closing moments mirror the opening themes of destiny and consequence. Structurally, the film moves from uncertainty to dominance, but emotionally it remains unresolved. This balance between victory and unease defines the narrative flow. The plot structure of Dune, Part 2, is deliberate and layered, combining spiritual awakening, political strategy, romance, and warfare into a cohesive arc that builds steadily toward transformation rather than simple triumph. Dune, Part 2, is driven by character evolution more than spectacle. While the film presents massive battles and political shifts, its emotional power comes from how each major character changes under pressure. The story tracks transformation, belief, ambition, and moral compromise, especially through Paul Atreides. Paul Atreides, played by Timothée Chalamet, undergoes the most dramatic arc. At the beginning of the film, he is still uncertain. He questions the prophecy that names him the Lisan al-Gaib. He fears the violent future he sees in his visions. He wants to survive and protect his mother, but he does not fully accept the idea of leading a holy war. This internal resistance defines his early character state. As Paul integrates into Fremen culture, he grows in skill and confidence. He learns their combat methods, survives the desert, and rides a sandworm. These physical achievements mirror his emotional shift. He begins to feel a sense of belonging. However, the more the Fremen believe in him, the more isolated he becomes. Leadership separates him from normal life. His love for Chani becomes the last piece of humanity grounding him. The turning point in Paul's arc comes when he drinks the water of life. Surviving this ritual changes him permanently. His prescient visions sharpen. He no longer hesitates. He begins making cold, strategic decisions. By the final act, Paul is no longer simply reacting to events. He is shaping them. His acceptance of marrying Princess Irulan for political power shows how far he has moved from the uncertain young man at the beginning. His arc is not purely heroic. It is complex and morally heavy. He gains power but risks losing his emotional innocence. Chani, played by Zendaya, has a powerful and independent arc. At first, she distrusts Paul and resents the prophecy surrounding him. She values action and survival over religious myth. Throughout the film, she falls in love with Paul the person, not Paul the Messiah. This distinction is crucial. As Paul grows more politically ambitious, Chani becomes more skeptical. Her arc moves in the opposite direction of blind faith. By the end, when Paul agrees to marry Irulan, Chani feels betrayed. Her development represents doubt and resistance against fanaticism. Lady Jessica, played by Rebecca Ferguson, follows a spiritual and ideological transformation. In the first film, she was protective and emotional. In this sequel, she becomes more strategic and devoted to the Bene Gesserit mission. After surviving the Water of Life ritual, she gains ancestral memory and adopts a colder perspective. She actively encourages the Fremen's belief in Paul as a messiah. Her arc raises ethical questions. She believes she is guiding destiny, but she is also manipulating faith to secure power. Stilgar, played by Javier Bardem, represents unwavering belief. At the beginning, he is cautious but hopeful about Paul. As events unfold, his faith becomes absolute. He interprets every action Paul takes as proof of prophecy. His arc illustrates how belief can grow stronger in times of struggle. However, his devotion also shows the danger of unquestioned loyalty. Phaedrotha Harkonnen, played by Austin Butler, experiences a rise rather than a transformation. Introduced as a brutal and ambitious warrior, he quickly becomes the Harkonnen champion. His arc is about proving himself worthy of power. Unlike Paul, who struggles with destiny, Fade embraces violence without hesitation. His character remains consistent in cruelty, which makes him a dark mirror to Paul. Their final duel symbolizes two different responses to power, one reluctant and calculating, the other savage and proud. Princess Irulan, played by Florence Pugh, has a subtler arc. She begins as an observer within the imperial court. She questions her father's decisions and senses instability in the empire. By the end, she becomes a political tool in Paul's strategy. Her development hints at future complexity as she transitions from protected royalty to a central political figure. Gurney Halleck, played by Josh Brolin, serves as emotional continuity. His reunion with Paul strengthens Paul's connection to his past. Gurney's arc is about loyalty and survival. He moves from presumed loss to renewed purpose under Paul's command. Overall, Dune, Part 2, presents arcs that revolve around belief, power, and identity. Some characters move toward faith, others toward doubt. Some gain power, others lose certainty. The film carefully balances these developments, ensuring that every transformation feels earned and meaningful. Dune, Part 2, relies heavily on performance to carry its emotional weight. While the film is known for its scale and visual intensity, it is the actors who ground the story and make the political and spiritual conflicts feel personal. Each major performer brings a distinct energy that shapes how the audience experiences the narrative. Timothée Chalamet delivers a layered and controlled performance as Paul Atreides. In the early parts of the film, he plays Paul with quiet hesitation. His voice remains soft, and his body language is careful. He often looks as though he is carrying an invisible burden. Chalamet uses stillness effectively, allowing silence to communicate internal struggle. As Paul's confidence grows, his physical presence changes. His posture becomes stronger, his voice deeper and more commanding. By the final act, his performance shifts into authority. He does not overplay power. Instead, he projects calm dominance, which makes his transformation believable. The shift feels gradual rather than sudden, showing careful character progression. Zendaya expands her role significantly as Chani. Her performance feels natural and grounded. She avoids melodrama, choosing emotional honesty instead. Zendaya gives Chani strength without making her cold. In action scenes, she moves with precision and confidence. In quieter moments, especially with Paul, she shows vulnerability and skepticism at the same time. Her facial expressions communicate doubt even when her dialogue is minimal. This layered approach makes Chani feel independent rather than simply supportive. In the final scenes, when she reacts to Paul's political decision, Zendaya conveys heartbreak without exaggerated emotion. The restraint in her acting makes the moment more powerful. Rebecca Ferguson brings intensity to Lady Jessica. Her performance is sharp and focused. Ferguson uses her eyes to communicate calculation and spiritual conviction. After Jessica undergoes the water of life ritual, her tone shifts noticeably. She becomes more controlled and almost distant. Ferguson avoids turning Jessica into a villain. Instead, she plays her as a mother who believes she is protecting her son through difficult choices. The balance between maternal care and political manipulation is handled with subtle complexity. Austin Butler stands out as Phaedrotha Harkonnen. His performance is aggressive and unsettling. Butler changes his voice and physicality completely. He speaks with calm cruelty, which contrasts with his violent actions. His movements are deliberate, almost predatory. In the arena scenes, he shows confidence and enjoyment in combat. Butler avoids exaggeration, keeping Fade controlled rather than chaotic. This controlled menace makes him more intimidating. His presence creates tension even before he speaks. Javier Bardem brings warmth and humor to Stilgar while maintaining seriousness. His faith in Paul could have felt one-dimensional, but Bardem adds layers of sincerity. He plays Stilgar as a man who truly believes in prophecy. His expressions often reflect pride and hope. Bardem's performance helps humanize the Fremen culture. He provides moments of lightness without breaking the film's tone. Florence Pugh, as Princess Irulan, offers a composed and observant presence. Though her screen time is limited, She brings intelligence and quiet curiosity to the role. Pugh uses subtle facial reactions to suggest that Irulan understands more than she says. Her calm delivery contrasts with the growing chaos around her. Christopher Walken portrays Emperor Shaddam IV with understated authority. Rather than playing the Emperor as loud or dramatic, Walken keeps him restrained. His performance feels cautious, almost weary. This approach emphasizes political tension instead of theatrical villainy. Josh Brolin returns as Gurney Halleck with emotional steadiness. His reunion scene with Paul carries weight because Brolin expresses relief and loyalty without excessive dialogue. His grounded performance reinforces the Atreides' legacy. Overall, the acting in Dune, Part 2, is controlled, mature, and cohesive. No performance feels out of place. Each actor understands the film's serious tone and avoids overacting. The strength of the performances lies in restraint, subtle emotional shifts, and believable character evolution. Denis Villeneuve's direction in Dune, Part 2, reflects long-term planning, discipline, and a deep respect for the source material. From the very beginning, it is clear that this film was not designed as a typical sequel meant only to escalate action. Instead, Villeneuve approaches it as the completion of a carefully structured epic. His vision centers on scale, seriousness, and emotional weight. Every creative choice supports that intention. One of the strongest elements of Villeneuve's direction is restraint. Despite having access to a massive budget and advanced visual effects, he avoids overwhelming the audience with constant spectacle. Large-scale battles are spaced carefully. Quiet conversations are given time to breathe. Villeneuve trusts the audience's patience. He allows scenes to unfold slowly, building tension through atmosphere rather than rapid editing or loud dialogue. Villeneuve's vision of Arrakis remains grounded and realistic. The desert does not feel like a fantasy world. It feels harsh, dangerous, and unforgiving. He frequently frames characters against vast empty landscapes, making them appear small compared to the environment. This reinforces one of the film's central themes: human ambition versus natural power. The sandworms are presented with awe, not exaggeration. Their presence feels ancient and unstoppable. Another key aspect of his direction is tone consistency. The film never shifts into comedy or exaggerated drama. Villeneuve maintains a serious and mature atmosphere throughout. Even moments of romance or victory carry weight. This consistency creates emotional immersion. The audience is not distracted by tonal changes. Instead, they are guided steadily through a world that feels coherent and believable. Villeneuve also demonstrates control over pacing. The first act focuses on cultural immersion and character growth. Rather than rushing toward confrontation, he builds emotional investment. By the time large battles occur, the audience understands what is at stake. This approach makes the climax more impactful. The director understands that spectacle only works when it is supported by character motivation. His handling of performances reveals careful collaboration with actors. Villeneuve often uses close-up shots during critical emotional moments. This allows subtle facial expressions to communicate internal conflict. He avoids over-directing emotional scenes. Instead, he gives actors space to express restraint. The result is a film where emotional intensity feels natural rather than forced. Villeneuve's vision also emphasizes political complexity. He does not simplify the conflict into pure good versus evil. Through framing and dialogue placement, he highlights the consequences of leadership and belief. Even Paul's rise to power is presented with caution. The camera does not glorify him blindly. Instead, it often lingers on reactions from other characters, especially Chaney, showing that victory carries moral uncertainty. The director carefully balances intimate storytelling with epic scale. Large battle sequences are choreographed with clarity. The audience can understand geography and strategy without confusion. At the same time, Villeneuve ensures that personal duels and conversations remain central. The final confrontation between Paul and Phaedratha is shot in a way that narrows the focus. Despite the larger war surrounding them, the camera prioritizes the human conflict. Villeneuve's long-term vision for the Dune universe also becomes evident. The film feels complete, but not closed. Subtle hints about future consequences remain present. He avoids over-explaining mythology. Instead, he trusts visual storytelling and character reactions to convey larger ideas. Lighting and framing choices reflect his deliberate style. Bright desert sunlight contrasts with shadowed interiors of Imperial ships and Harkonnen arenas. This visual contrast mirrors the moral and political differences between factions. Villeneuve uses symmetry in certain scenes to emphasize power structures, especially during Imperial sequences. Overall, Denis Villeneuve's direction in Dune, Part 2, demonstrates confidence and clarity. He prioritizes atmosphere, emotional truth, and thematic depth over quick thrills. His vision transforms a complex science fiction novel into a cinematic experience that feels both intimate and monumental. The result is a film guided by purpose rather than spectacle alone. The cinematography of Dune, Part 2, led by Greg Fraser, plays a central role in shaping the film's identity. Every frame feels intentional, carefully composed to communicate scale, isolation, power, and transformation. The visual style does not simply capture action. It reinforces the emotional and thematic core of the story. Through lighting, framing, color, and camera movement, the film creates a world that feels vast yet deeply personal. One of the most striking elements of the cinematography is the sense of scale. Fraser frequently uses wide shots to show the endless desert of Arrakis. Characters often appear small against towering sand dunes and open skies. This visual approach emphasizes the harshness of the environment and the vulnerability of human ambition. The desert feels alive and overwhelming. The audience is constantly reminded that nature is more powerful than any political force. The use of natural light adds realism to the film. Many desert scenes are shot in bright, intense sunlight. Shadows are sharp, and the heat feels visible. Instead of using artificial lighting to beautify the setting, the cinematography embraces harsh contrast. This choice strengthens the survival theme of the story. The environment looks dangerous rather than romanticized. In contrast, the Harkonnen sequences use a completely different visual approach. The color palette becomes colder and more monochromatic. Blacks, grays, and muted tones dominate these scenes. Lighting is often stark and directional, creating deep shadows and sharp edges. This visual difference separates the Harkonnens from the Fremen world. It reflects their brutality and emotional emptiness. The arena scenes featuring Feyd-Rautha are filmed with high contrast and dramatic composition, giving them an almost surreal intensity. Camera movement in the film is deliberate and controlled. Fraser avoids shaky handheld shots during major sequences. Instead, the camera often glides smoothly across landscapes or remains steady during conversations. This controlled movement reinforces the serious tone of the film. Even during battle scenes, the action is clear and readable. The audience can understand spatial relationships and strategy without confusion. Close-up shots are used carefully during emotional moments. When Paul faces internal conflict or makes critical decisions, the camera lingers on his face. These close-ups allow subtle expressions to carry weight. The audience can see hesitation, fear, and determination without excessive dialogue. This technique strengthens character development while maintaining visual elegance. The film also makes strong use of vertical composition. Sandworms rise dramatically from beneath the desert, creating upward motion in the frame. Massive ships descend from the sky, reinforcing themes of invasion and dominance. These vertical elements create visual tension between ground and sky, between human control and natural force. Color plays an important symbolic role. The desert sequences are dominated by warm tones of gold and orange. These colors represent both life and danger. In contrast, Imperial interiors often use cooler and more neutral tones. This separation in color design supports the political divide within the story. The visual language clearly distinguishes factions without needing explanation. Fraser's use of IMAX format enhances immersion. Many scenes are designed to maximize height and width, filling the screen with detail. Sandstorms, worm rides, and large-scale battles benefit from this expanded frame. The audience feels surrounded by the environment. the visual experience becomes almost physical. Lighting is also used to signal transformation. After Paul survives the water of life ritual, his scenes are often lit with stronger contrast. His face is sometimes partially shadowed, suggesting the dual nature of his destiny. This subtle visual shift reinforces his internal change. Overall, the cinematography of Dune, Part 2, combines realism with epic grandeur. It avoids flashy or distracting techniques. Instead, it focuses on clarity, atmosphere, and thematic reinforcement. Every shot contributes to the emotional journey. The visual style supports the narrative rather than overpowering it. The result is a film that feels immersive, cohesive, and visually unforgettable. The editing of Dune, Part 2, plays a crucial role in maintaining clarity, emotional weight, and narrative balance throughout its long runtime. Edited by Joe Walker, the film demonstrates disciplined storytelling. Rather than relying on rapid cuts or constant visual stimulation, the editing style supports the director's slow-burn approach. The pacing feels intentional, structured, and carefully measured to serve character development and thematic depth. One of the most noticeable aspects of the editing is its patience. Scenes are allowed to breathe. Conversations are not cut too quickly. Reaction shots are held long enough for subtle emotions to register. This slower rhythm reinforces the seriousness of the story. It also gives the audience time to absorb the complex political and spiritual ideas presented throughout the film. The first act uses measured pacing to establish Paul's integration into Fremen culture. Training sequences, desert travel, and cultural rituals unfold gradually. The editing avoids montage shortcuts that would rush through transformation. Instead, the audience experiences Paul's growth step by step. This approach makes his eventual leadership feel earned rather than sudden. Cross-cutting is used strategically to build tension between factions. As Paul rises among the Fremen, the film intercuts with scenes of the Harkonnens planning retaliation and the Emperor observing political instability. These transitions are smooth and purposeful. They maintain momentum while expanding the story scope. The audience always understands how separate storylines connect to the larger conflict. During action sequences, the editing prioritizes clarity over chaos. Large battle scenes are cut in a way that preserves spatial awareness. Viewers can follow troop movements, sandworm attacks, and strategic shifts without confusion. The editor avoids overly fragmented cuts that could disorient the audience. This clarity enhances the epic scale while keeping the emotional stakes grounded. The pacing shifts noticeably around key turning points. When Lady Jessica undergoes the Water of Life ritual, the editing slows significantly. Shots linger longer, and transitions become softer. This slower tempo emphasizes the ritual's spiritual intensity. Similarly, when Paul drinks the Water of Life, the editing becomes dreamlike. Sequences blend with vision imagery, and time feels suspended. This change in rhythm reflects Paul's altered state of consciousness. As the film approaches its final act, the pacing accelerates carefully. The build-up to the large-scale desert battle feels deliberate rather than rushed. The editor gradually shortens shot lengths during combat sequences, increasing intensity while maintaining coherence. The rhythm of cuts mirrors the rising stakes of the confrontation. The duel between Paul and Phaedrotha represents a focused editing approach. Unlike the larger battle, this scene uses tighter framing and more concentrated cuts. The editing emphasizes physical movement and reaction. Each strike and pause is given weight. The rhythm feels tense but controlled, reflecting the personal nature of the conflict. One strength of the editing is its ability to balance spectacle with intimacy. After major action moments, the film often returns to quieter scenes. These transitions are smooth and prevent emotional fatigue. The pacing never feels overwhelming because intense sequences are followed by reflective pauses. The film's overall runtime is substantial, yet it rarely feels bloated. This is largely due to consistent pacing decisions. Subplots are integrated carefully, and unnecessary repetition is avoided. Each scene advances character development or political tension. The final moments slow down again after the climactic duel. The editing allows political consequences and emotional fallout to settle. Paul's decision to marry Princess Irulan and Chani's reaction are given space. The film does not rush to a celebratory ending. Instead, it ends on a thoughtful and slightly uneasy note. Overall, the editing of Dune, Part 2, reflects discipline and precision. It supports the director's vision by maintaining clarity, controlling tension, and guiding emotional progression. The pacing respects the audience's intelligence and patience. Every cut feels purposeful, contributing to a cohesive and immersive cinematic experience. The sound design and musical score of Dune, Part 2, are essential to its immersive power. Sound in this film is not simply background support. It actively shapes mood, tension, and emotion. Under the direction of Denis Villeneuve, and with music composed by Hans Zimmer, the audio landscape becomes a storytelling tool as important as the visuals. Hans Zimmer's score continues and expands the musical identity introduced in the first film. Instead of relying on traditional orchestral melodies alone, Zimmer uses experimental textures, deep percussion, distorted tones, and haunting vocal elements. The music feels ancient and futuristic at the same time. It reflects the spiritual depth of Arrakis while maintaining a sense of epic scale. One of the most striking aspects of the score is its use of rhythm. Heavy drums and layered percussion often accompany desert scenes. These beats echo the heartbeat of the planet and the movement of sandworms beneath the surface. The music does not overwhelm dialogue. Instead, it builds tension slowly, rising during critical moments and then fading to allow silence to speak. Silence itself plays an important role in the sound design. During key emotional scenes, especially those involving Paul and Chani, the absence of loud music creates intimacy. The audience hears breathing, footsteps on sand, and subtle environmental sounds. This minimalism enhances realism and draws attention to performance. The sound design of Arrakis is carefully crafted. Wind moves constantly across the desert, creating a soft but persistent background presence. Sand shifts beneath footsteps. When sandworms approach, the low rumble builds gradually, creating anticipation. The worm sounds feel deep and powerful, almost like natural earthquakes. These layered audio effects make the creatures feel enormous and real. Battle sequences use sound to emphasize scale without becoming chaotic. Explosions are heavy and grounded rather than exaggerated. Weapons have distinct audio signatures. The Sardaukar forces carry a sharp, metallic tone in their movements, while Fremen combat feels more organic and connected to the environment. These differences help distinguish factions through sound alone. The Harkonnen scenes feature a colder and harsher sound palette. Mechanical noises dominate their environments. Industrial hums, metallic echoes, and sharp audio textures create discomfort. Phaedratha's arena sequence uses amplified crowd reactions and echoing impacts to increase intensity. The sound design in these scenes reinforces brutality and tension. Hans Zimmer's vocal elements deserve special attention. Female vocalizations are layered into key sequences, particularly those tied to prophecy and ritual. These vocals feel almost spiritual, representing the Bene Gesserit influence and ancient traditions. The human voice becomes an instrument, blending with electronic and orchestral components. When Paul drinks the water of life, the sound design shifts dramatically. Audio becomes distorted and layered. Echoes overlap with whispers, suggesting expanded consciousness. The score becomes more abstract, reflecting Paul's visions of possible futures. This creative use of sound mirrors internal transformation without heavy exposition. During the final battle, the music rises in intensity but avoids triumphal overtones. Instead of heroic fanfare, the score feels urgent and heavy. This choice reflects the moral complexity of Paul's victory. The music does not celebrate blindly. It suggests consequence and uncertainty. Dialogue mixing is also carefully balanced. Even in large-scale scenes, voices remain clear. The film avoids drowning speech under music or effects. This clarity maintains narrative focus. Overall, the sound design and score of Dune, Part 2, create a fully immersive auditory world. Zimmer's music enhances emotion without manipulation. Environmental sounds add realism and tension. silence is used strategically. Together, these elements elevate the film beyond visual spectacle, making it an experience that resonates both visually and sonically. The production design of Dune, Part 2, is one of the film's most impressive achievements. Every set, structure, and environment feels carefully constructed to reflect culture, power, and survival. Under the guidance of production designer Patrice Vermette, the world of Arrakis expands with authenticity and detail. The visual environments are not decorative backgrounds. They actively support storytelling and deepen immersion. Arrakis remains the central location, and its design emphasizes harshness and realism. The desert landscapes were filmed in real-world locations, including parts of Jordan and the United Arab Emirates. The natural dunes provide scale that cannot be replicated digitally. Wide-open horizons and towering sand formations create a sense of isolation. The decision to use practical desert locations gives the film a grounded texture. Heat, wind, and sand feel tangible rather than artificial. The Fremen settlements are designed with functionality in mind. Their sieges, or underground communities, are carved into rock formations. The interiors are minimal but purposeful. Stone walls, simple lighting sources, and water storage systems reflect a culture built around survival. The design avoids futuristic excess. Instead, it focuses on practicality shaped by environment. Every detail, from still suits hanging on walls to carved pathways, reinforces the idea that water is sacred and life is fragile. Costume integration within production design also enhances realism. Fremen still suits blend naturally with their surroundings. Their blue-within-blue eyes, caused by prolonged spice exposure, contrast against sandy backdrops. The environment and clothing feel connected, reflecting adaptation to extreme conditions. In contrast, the Harkonnen environments are stark and oppressive. Their architecture features sharp angles, massive industrial structures, and cold metallic surfaces. Interiors are dominated by black and gray tones. Lighting is harsh and directional, creating deep shadows. This design reflects a culture built on dominance and fear. The Harkonnen arena sequence stands out visually. Its brutal simplicity, high walls, and stark contrast lighting create a space that feels both ancient and dystopian. The Imperial settings bring another layer of visual distinction. Emperor Shaddam IV's environments feel formal and controlled. Clean lines, expansive chambers, and symmetrical design reflect authority and tradition. Unlike the organic textures of Arrakis or the industrial severity of the Harkonnens, Imperial spaces balance elegance with restraint. This visual separation helps the audience immediately recognize political power structures. Large-scale set pieces, such as spice harvesting machines and military vehicles, are designed with industrial realism. They appear heavy and functional rather than sleek or exaggerated. The scale of these machines emphasizes the economic importance of spice production. Their presence against the open desert creates strong visual contrast between industry and nature. The sandworms themselves, though primarily realized through visual effects, are integrated seamlessly into the physical environment. The design of desert landscapes accommodates their movement. The interaction between practical sand effects and digital enhancement maintains believability. Interior ship designs further differentiate factions. Atreides ships maintain a structured and noble appearance. Harkonnen ships appear darker and more aggressive. The Emperor's fleet carries a sense of ceremonial order. These design variations subtly reinforce political and cultural identity. Attention to texture is a key strength of the production design. Surfaces feel weathered by sand, wind, and time. Nothing appears overly polished. This lived-in quality prevents the world from feeling artificial. Even massive structures show signs of wear. Overall, the production design of Dune, Part 2, builds a cohesive universe through architectural contrast, environmental authenticity, and cultural symbolism. Sets and locations are not random or purely aesthetic. They reflect ideology, survival strategy, and power hierarchy. The result is a world that feels fully realized and immersive, supporting both intimate character moments and epic conflict. The visual effects in Dune, Part 2, are designed to support realism rather than dominate attention. Instead of feeling like a showcase for digital spectacle, the effects blend seamlessly with practical elements. This balance between computer-generated imagery and physical filmmaking strengthens immersion. The audience rarely feels separated from the world by artificial visuals. Every large-scale moment appears grounded and believable. One of the most impressive achievements is the depiction of sandworms. These massive creatures are central to the mythology of Arrakis. Their scale is enormous, yet their movement feels natural. Visual effects artists focused on texture and weight. When a sandworm emerges from beneath the desert surface, the surrounding sand reacts convincingly. Practical sand blasts and debris were combined with digital enhancements. This layering makes the creatures feel connected to the physical environment rather than floating on top of it. The worm-riding sequences demonstrate careful coordination between actors, practical rigs, and digital work. Performers were placed on mechanical platforms that simulated motion. Wind machines and real sand effects were used on set. Later, digital teams extended the creature's body and enhanced environmental details. Because the actors physically interacted with moving equipment, their reactions feel authentic. The result is a sequence that feels thrilling without appearing exaggerated. Large-scale battle scenes also rely on a combination of techniques. Explosions, dust clouds, and physical props were created on location whenever possible. Digital effects were then used to expand armies, enhance landscapes, and add environmental hazards. This layered approach prevents the battlefield from feeling empty or overly animated. The audience sees real ground interaction beneath digital extensions. The visual effects team paid close attention to environmental continuity. Sandstorms move with realistic density. Particles respond to light accurately. Shadows from ships and structures interact properly with the desert surface. These subtle details prevent distraction. Nothing feels detached from the world. Spacecraft design is another area where visual effects shine. Ships feel heavy and functional. Their movement is deliberate rather than flashy. When large vessels descend onto Arrakis, their presence disturbs the sand realistically. Engines produce dust displacement and lighting shifts that match practical elements filmed on location. This attention to physics enhances credibility. The Harkonnen arena sequence stands out visually. The stark lighting and monochrome palette required careful digital grading. Instead of relying only on set construction, the effects team enhanced scale and atmosphere through post-production adjustments. Crowd extensions and environmental details deepen the sense of mass and intensity without overshadowing the performance. Vision sequences connected to Paul's prescience use more stylized effects. Here, the film allows slightly abstract visuals. Fragmented imagery, layered lighting distortions, and subtle motion blur communicate altered perception. These moments feel dreamlike but remain visually coherent. They do not disrupt the grounded tone of the rest of the film. Practical effects remain a major strength. Real desert filming provides authentic wind movement and natural light interaction. Costumes gather dust realistically. Physical props create weight and texture. Actors often perform within partially built sets rather than against empty green screens. This approach gives them real surfaces to touch and interact with. Digital work enhances scale rather than replacing reality. Massive city structures, additional troops, and expansive landscapes are extended digitally but built upon physical foundations. Because the base layers are practical, the final composite feels unified. Overall, the visual and practical effects in Dune, Part 2, prioritize immersion over spectacle. The audience rarely questions what is real and what is digital. Every enhancement serves narrative clarity and emotional weight. The effects team supports the director's grounded vision, creating a world that feels tangible, dangerous, and alive. The screenplay of Dune, Part 2, written by Denis Villeneuve and John Spates, carries the heavy responsibility of adapting the second half of a complex and philosophical novel. The script balances political exposition, emotional intimacy, spiritual prophecy, and large-scale conflict without overwhelming the audience. Dialogue is measured and intentional. It avoids excessive explanation while still making the story accessible to viewers unfamiliar with the source material. One of the strongest qualities of the screenplay is restraint. Characters rarely speak more than necessary. Conversations are concise, often loaded with meaning beneath the surface. Instead of long speeches explaining every detail of the world, the script trusts visual storytelling and subtext. This choice keeps the tone serious and grounded. Paul Atreides' dialogue evolves throughout the film. Early on, his words reflect hesitation and uncertainty. He questions prophecy and resists the idea of becoming a religious figure. His lines are thoughtful, sometimes quiet. As the story progresses and he accepts leadership, his speech becomes firmer and more commanding. By the final act, his language is direct and strategic. The shift in dialogue mirrors his transformation from reluctant survivor to decisive ruler. Chani's dialogue provides emotional balance and skepticism. She often challenges the idea of destiny. Her lines question blind faith and political manipulation. The screenplay uses her voice to ground the story in realism. She does not speak in mystical terms. Instead, she focuses on survival and loyalty to her people. This contrast between her grounded perspective and the growing religious fervor adds tension to conversations. Lady Jessica's dialogue becomes more formal and deliberate after her transformation. Her words often carry spiritual weight. She speaks with conviction about prophecy and destiny. However, beneath her calm tone, there is strategic calculation. The screenplay subtly reveals her manipulation without turning her into a clear villain. Her conversations feel layered, especially when she addresses the Fremen about Paul's role. Phaedrotha's dialogue is minimal but sharp. He does not waste words. His lines often carry an edge of cruelty or quiet arrogance. The screenplay avoids giving him long monologues. Instead, his presence and tone create tension. His brief exchanges emphasize his confidence and brutality. Political dialogue within the imperial court is handled with clarity. Princess Irulan's conversations with Emperor Shaddam IV reveal fear and doubt. The script avoids complicated political jargon. Instead, it keeps the stakes clear. Control of Arrakis means control of spice, and control of spice means control of the Empire. This straightforward approach ensures that even viewers new to the story understand the power struggle. The screenplay also handles exposition carefully. Important concepts such as the water of life ritual, prescient visions, and Fremen prophecy are introduced through character experience rather than long explanations. When Paul drinks the water of life, dialogue becomes sparse. Visual storytelling takes priority. This restraint prevents the film from feeling overly verbal during mystical sequences. Romantic dialogue between Paul and Chani is simple and sincere. Their conversations do not rely on dramatic declarations. Instead, quiet exchanges and shared glances communicate affection. This subtlety strengthens authenticity. The final confrontation scenes feature direct and powerful exchanges. Paul's challenge to Phaedrotha is straightforward. His confrontation with the Emperor is calm but decisive. The script avoids triumphant speeches. Instead, it presents political authority with quiet intensity. Overall, the dialogue and screenplay of Dune, Part 2, reflect maturity and confidence. The writing supports character development without overwhelming the audience. Subtext carries as much weight as spoken words. The result is a script that feels thoughtful, balanced, and emotionally grounded while handling epic science fiction themes with clarity. Dune, Part 2, operates within multiple genres, but it executes them with careful balance and control. At its core, the film is epic science fiction. However, it also functions as a political drama, a war film, a spiritual narrative, and even a tragic character study. The success of the movie lies in how smoothly it blends these genres without losing tonal consistency. Rather than jumping abruptly between styles, it weaves them together into one cohesive experience. As a science fiction epic, the film embraces large-scale world-building. Advanced technology, interstellar travel, and massive sandworms clearly establish its futuristic setting. However, the genre elements are treated with realism. The technology does not feel flashy or exaggerated. Spaceships are heavy and functional. Weapons are practical. This grounded approach prevents the film from feeling like fantasy. Instead, it feels like a believable future shaped by politics and survival. The political drama aspect is equally strong. Much of the tension revolves around control of Arrakis and the spice trade. Conversations between Emperor Shaddam IV and Princess Irulan reflect strategic anxiety. The conflict between House Atreides and House Harkonnen is driven by power rather than personal hatred alone. The political genre elements give the story weight and maturity. Decisions carry long-term consequences, and alliances shift based on strategy. The war film elements become more prominent in the second half. Training sequences, desert ambushes, and the final large-scale battle follow a war narrative structure. The film shows preparation, escalation, and confrontation. However, unlike traditional war films that glorify combat, Dune, Part 2, treats warfare as costly and heavy. Victories are not celebrated with triumphant tone shifts. Instead, they feel necessary and serious. Spiritual and religious themes introduce another genre layer. The prophecy of the Lisan al-Gaib drives much of the Fremen belief system. Rituals like the Water of Life ceremony carry mystical intensity. The film approaches these moments with reverence rather than spectacle. Music, silence, and lighting reinforce spiritual weight. This religious dimension adds depth beyond simple political conflict. Tone consistency is one of the film's strongest qualities. Despite covering multiple genres, the tone remains serious and grounded throughout. There are no sudden comedic interruptions. Humor is subtle and natural, usually emerging from character interaction rather than scripted jokes. This restraint maintains immersion and prevents emotional whiplash. However, the film does allow subtle tone shifts within its controlled atmosphere. Early scenes focus on uncertainty and adaptation. The tone feels reflective and cautious. As Paul grows in confidence, the tone gradually becomes more assertive. By the final act, tension dominates. The atmosphere feels urgent but never chaotic. Romantic elements between Paul and Chani introduce moments of warmth. These scenes slightly soften the tone without breaking seriousness. Their relationship adds humanity to an otherwise intense political story. Even here, the tone remains grounded rather than overly sentimental. The final confrontation carries a tragic undertone. Although Paul achieves victory, the mood is not celebratory. The film ends with complexity and unease. This tonal decision reinforces the theme that power comes with moral cost. Overall, Dune, Part 2 executes its genre blend with discipline. Science fiction spectacle, political intrigue, war strategy, and spiritual prophecy coexist without clashing. Tone shifts are gradual and controlled, supporting character development rather than distracting from it. The result is a film that feels epic yet emotionally grounded, maintaining maturity across its expansive narrative. Dune, Part 2 is built on powerful themes that explore leadership, destiny, faith, power, and consequence. Beneath its epic battles and political conflict, the film asks serious questions about what it means to lead and what happens when belief turns into fanaticism. These themes give the story emotional depth and lasting impact. One of the central themes is destiny versus choice. Paul Atreides is surrounded by prophecy. The Fremen believe he is the Lisan al-Gaib, a messianic figure destined to free them. The Bene Gesserit see him as the result of generations of genetic planning. From the beginning, Paul struggles with whether he is truly choosing his path or simply following a script written by others. His visions of the future show violent possibilities, including a holy war carried out in his name. The film explores whether destiny is unavoidable or shaped by personal decisions. Another major theme is the danger of blind faith. Stilgar and many Fremen believe completely in the prophecy. Every action Paul takes becomes proof of divine guidance. The film shows how easily belief can grow stronger during hardship. Faith gives people hope and unity, but it can also remove critical thinking. Through Chani skepticism, the story presents an opposing viewpoint. She questions the prophecy and fears what will happen if people surrender their independence to a single leader. This contrast highlights the risks of unquestioned devotion. Power and its moral cost form another key theme. As Paul gains authority, he becomes more strategic and less hesitant. His decisions shift from personal survival to large-scale control. When he chooses to marry Princess Irulan for political advantage, he sacrifices emotional honesty for power stability. The film suggests that leadership often requires compromise, but those compromises can distance a leader from their original values. Victory is not presented as pure or simple. It carries weight and responsibility. The theme of colonial exploitation is also central. Arrakis is valuable because of spice, and outside powers seek to control it for economic and political gain. The Fremen, who have lived on the planet for generations, are treated as obstacles rather than people. Their struggle reflects resistance against imperial domination. The film portrays how resource extraction fuels oppression and conflict. Through Paul's alliance with the Fremen, the story explores rebellion against exploitation. Identity is another recurring theme. Paul is both an Atreides noble and a Fremen warrior. He must reconcile these identities. His transformation shows how environment and belief shape self-perception. Lady Jessica also faces identity shifts. After becoming a reverend mother, she embraces a more spiritual and strategic role, moving beyond simple motherhood. Characters constantly evolve as they adapt to circumstances. Environmental respect versus control appears subtly throughout the film. The desert is powerful and dangerous. The Fremen survive by respecting its rules. Outside forces attempt to dominate it through machines and extraction. The sandworms symbolize natural force beyond human control. The film implies that survival depends on adaptation rather than domination. Love and loyalty are explored through Paul and Chani's relationship. Their bond represents humanity within political chaos. However, political ambition threatens personal connection. This theme reinforces the idea that power can isolate even those with strong emotional ties. Ultimately, Dune, Part 2, delivers a complex message about leadership. It questions whether a hero can remain morally pure while holding absolute power. It shows that belief can inspire freedom but also ignite destruction. The film does not offer simple answers. Instead, it encourages reflection on the consequences of ambition, faith, and authority. Dune, Part 2, is filled with symbolism that deepens its narrative beyond surface-level action and politics. Many elements in the film carry layered meanings, reflecting themes of power, faith, transformation, and control. Denis Villeneuve uses visual and narrative symbolism carefully, allowing viewers to interpret meaning without direct explanation. The desert of Arrakis is one of the strongest symbols in the film. On the surface, it is a harsh environment that demands survival skills. Symbolically, it represents both danger and rebirth. For Paul Atreides, the desert becomes a place of transformation. He enters it as a displaced noble heir and emerges as a powerful leader. The endless sand reflects uncertainty and possibility at the same time. It hides both spice and sandworms beneath its surface, suggesting that power and destruction often lie hidden under calm appearances. The sandworms themselves symbolize natural power and uncontrollable force. They are ancient creatures that cannot be dominated easily. For the Fremen, they represent spiritual connection and strength. For outsiders, they are obstacles or threats. When Paul rides a sandworm, it symbolizes his acceptance of Arrakis and his ability to align with its power rather than fight against it. This moment represents unity between human ambition and natural force. Spice is another major symbol. Beyond its practical function as a valuable resource, spice represents control and dependency. It grants extended life and enables space travel. Entire empires rely on it. This dependency mirrors real-world reliance on limited resources. The struggle over spice highlights how greed and power are tied to scarcity. It symbolizes both opportunity and corruption. The water of life ritual carries deep symbolic meaning. Drinking the substance represents death and rebirth. When Lady Jessica survives the ritual, she gains ancestral knowledge. When Paul drinks it, he symbolically dies as the uncertain young man and is reborn as a visionary leader. The ritual reflects spiritual awakening but also danger. It suggests that enlightenment comes with risk and sacrifice. Eyes are a subtle but important symbol throughout the film. The Fremen's blue within blue eyes, caused by prolonged spice exposure, symbolize adaptation and belonging. When Paul's eyes change, it reflects his deeper connection to Arrakis. Eyes also represent vision, both literal and prophetic. Paul's prescient abilities make sight a metaphor for foresight and consequence. However, seeing the future does not guarantee control over it. This tension adds depth to the symbol. Light and shadow are used symbolically in cinematography. Paul is often shown partially in shadow during moments of decision. This lighting reflects his internal conflict and moral ambiguity. The Harkonnen environments, dominated by darkness and harsh contrast, symbolize oppression and brutality. In contrast, the bright desert light symbolizes exposure and truth. The arena sequence featuring Phaedrotha symbolizes cruelty as entertainment. The stark setting, stripped of color, reflects moral emptiness. It shows how power structures use spectacle to maintain dominance. This symbolism contrasts with the Fremen's spiritual rituals, which are rooted in community rather than display. Marriage between Paul and Princess Irulan symbolizes political alliance over personal love. It represents compromise and strategic sacrifice. This union signals the merging of rebellion and empire. It also symbolizes the beginning of a new order shaped by calculated decisions. Overall, Dune, Part 2, uses symbolism to reinforce its themes without heavy explanation. The desert, sandworms, spice, rituals, and lighting all carry deeper meaning. These hidden layers invite reflection on leadership, faith, control, and transformation. Dune, Part 2, carries strong social, cultural, and political commentary beneath its epic science fiction surface. While set in a distant future with interstellar empires, the film reflects issues that feel relevant to real-world history and modern society. Through its story of control, rebellion, faith, and leadership, the movie explores how power structures operate and how belief systems influence communities. One of the most significant political themes is imperialism and resource exploitation. Arrakis is valuable because it produces spice, the most important substance in the universe. Outside powers do not care about the Fremen people or their traditions. They care about control of spice production. This reflects historical patterns of colonial expansion, where powerful nations exploit lands rich in natural resources without respecting indigenous populations. The Fremen are treated as obstacles rather than rightful inhabitants of their world. Their resistance represents anti-colonial struggle. The economic system in the film is built on scarcity and dependency. Spice is limited and essential. This creates political tension and conflict. The empire depends on a single resource to maintain dominance. This mirrors modern global reliance on oil and other limited materials. Control over resources becomes a tool of influence. The film suggests that economic dependency can create instability and violence. Religious manipulation is another powerful commentary. The Bene Gesserit planted prophecies among the Fremen generations earlier. These prophecies prepared the population to accept a messianic figure. Lady Jessica and others used this belief system strategically to gain influence. This reflects how religious narratives can be shaped or manipulated for political gain. The film does not criticize faith itself but warns about how belief can be used as a weapon. The rise of Paul Atreides also comments on charismatic leadership. Paul does not begin as a dictator. He begins as a survivor. However, as his influence grows, people project hope and expectation onto him. His prescient visions show the possibility of a holy war carried out in his name. This mirrors historical figures who became symbols for movements beyond their original intention. The film questions whether one person can control how followers interpret their actions. Culturally, the Fremen society is portrayed with respect and depth. Their customs, language, and survival practices are central to the story. They are not presented as primitive or inferior. Instead, they are shown as resilient and resourceful. Their adaptation to harsh conditions highlights cultural strength shaped by environment. This portrayal challenges stereotypes often found in colonial narratives. The film also explores generational influence. The Bene Gesserit breeding program represents long-term political planning. Individuals are treated as pieces in a larger strategy. This raises ethical questions about autonomy and manipulation. The idea that destiny can be engineered reflects concerns about control over human identity. Gender dynamics appear subtly in the story. The Bene Gesserit wield influence behind the scenes. Lady Jessica holds significant spiritual authority. Princess Irulan observes and questions imperial decisions. Women in the film are not passive figures. They operate within power systems in strategic ways, even if their authority is sometimes hidden. Finally, the film comments on the cost of revolution. While rebellion can bring justice, it can also unleash violence. Paul's victory is not purely triumphant. It carries the shadow of future conflict. This reflects the complexity of political change. Overall, Dune, Part 2, presents layered commentary on imperialism, religion, leadership, and power. It encourages viewers to reflect on how history, belief, and ambition shape societies and individuals. Dune, Part 2, is filled with powerful moments that leave lasting impressions. These scenes combine emotional intensity, visual scale, and narrative significance. Each major sequence is carefully constructed to advance character development while reinforcing central themes. The most impactful scenes are not only visually stunning but emotionally meaningful. One of the earliest memorable scenes is Paul's first successful sandworm ride. This moment represents more than a physical achievement. It symbolizes acceptance by the Fremen and connection to Arrakis. The build-up is tense. Paul prepares carefully, aware that failure could mean death. When the massive sandworm emerges and he climbs onto its surface, the scale is overwhelming. The combination of sound design, wide cinematography, and focused performance makes the scene thrilling. It marks a turning point in Paul's journey from outsider to leader. Another powerful sequence is Lady Jessica's Water of Life ritual. The ceremony is quiet yet intense. The setting feels sacred and dangerous. As Jessica drinks the toxic substance, the atmosphere becomes heavy. The tension comes not from action but from anticipation. When she survives and awakens with ancestral knowledge, the transformation is clear. This scene deepens the spiritual dimension of the story and shifts the narrative toward prophecy fulfillment. Paul's own decision to drink the water of life is even more impactful. Unlike his mother, he fully understands the risks. The scene is filled with silence and expectation. After consuming the substance, he collapses into a near-death state. Vision sequences blend with reality, creating a dreamlike experience. When he finally awakens, his expression changes. The audience senses that something fundamental has shifted within him. This moment signals his full acceptance of destiny. The reunion between Paul and Gurney Halleck is emotionally significant. After believing Gurney lost, Paul's reaction carries relief and renewed strength. The scene is simple, focused on performance rather than spectacle. It reconnects Paul to his Atreides roots and reminds viewers of the personal losses that shaped his journey. The Harkonnen arena sequence featuring Feyd-Rautha is visually unforgettable. The stark black and white palette and intense combat choreography create a chilling atmosphere. Feyd's brutality is displayed without excess dialogue. The crowd's reaction and controlled violence establish him as a formidable opponent. This scene sets the stage for the final confrontation. The large-scale desert battle near the film's climax is one of the most visually striking sequences. Sandworms charge across the battlefield. Explosions disrupt spice facilities. The Fremen attack with precision and coordination. Despite the scale, the editing maintains clarity. The scene feels epic yet controlled. It represents the culmination of preparation and belief. The duel between Paul and Feyd-Rautha stands as the emotional and narrative peak. Unlike the massive battle surrounding it, this fight is intimate and focused. Every movement feels deliberate. The tension builds with each exchange. When Paul ultimately defeats Feyd, the victory feels heavy rather than celebratory. It represents both triumph and irreversible change. The final confrontation between Paul and Emperor Shaddam IV is another defining moment. Paul's calm but firm declaration of authority shows his transformation into a ruler. The political negotiation is intense despite limited physical action. When Paul announces his decision to marry Princess Irulan, the emotional impact shifts to Chani's reaction. Her silent disappointment adds complexity to the ending. The film closes with a mixture of victory and uncertainty. Paul has achieved power, but his visions suggest future conflict. This quiet conclusion leaves a lasting emotional impression. Overall, these memorable scenes combine spectacle with meaning. Each moment serves character growth and thematic depth, ensuring the film's impact extends beyond visual grandeur. Dune, Part 2, stands as a major science fiction epic, but it does not exist in isolation. Its style, themes, and storytelling approach invite comparison to other landmark films in the genre, as well as to the previous works of director Denis Villeneuve. Understanding these comparisons helps highlight what makes this film unique while also placing it within cinematic history. One of the most obvious comparisons is to Dune, Part 1. While the first film focused heavily on world building and setup, the second installment shifts toward action and consequence. The first movie introduced audiences to Arrakis, the Atreides family, and the political conflict. It was slower, more atmospheric, and cautious. Dune, Part 2 builds on that foundation with greater intensity. The scale of battles increases, and character arcs reach transformation. Yet both films share the same visual seriousness, restrained dialogue, and grounded tone. Together, they feel like two chapters of one cohesive vision rather than separate projects. The film is often compared to classic science fiction epics like Star Wars. Both stories involve desert planets, political empires, and young heroes rising to power. However, Dune, Part 2, takes a more mature and morally complex approach. Where Star Wars often emphasizes clear good versus evil dynamics, Dune presents moral ambiguity. Paul Atreides is not portrayed as a flawless hero. His rise carries ethical consequences. This difference sets Villeneuve's work apart from more traditional space operas. Another strong comparison is to The Lord of the Rings trilogy. Like Peter Jackson's epic adaptation, Dune, Part 2 features expansive landscapes, large-scale battles, and themes of destiny. Both series rely on immersive world-building and detailed cultural identities. However, while The Lord of the Rings leans into fantasy myth and clear heroism, Dune remains grounded in political realism. The tone is more restrained, and the ending carries less triumph and more uncertainty. Villeneuve's own filmography provides meaningful context. His earlier science fiction film, Arrival, explored language, perception of time, and the burden of knowledge. In many ways, Paul's prescient visions in Dune, Part 2, echo the themes of Arrival. Both films examine how knowing the future affects present decisions. Villeneuve handles these concepts with similar restraint, using silence and atmosphere rather than heavy exposition. Blade Runner 2049, another Villeneuve project, also shares stylistic similarities. Both films feature vast landscapes, slow pacing, and strong visual composition. The emphasis on mood, lighting, and immersive sound design connects these works. In both movies, the protagonist struggles with identity and destiny. The tone remains serious and contemplative. Compared to other modern blockbusters, Dune, Part 2 avoids excessive humor and rapid editing. Many contemporary franchises rely on quick dialogue and comedic relief. Villeneuve chooses a different path. His film respects silence and long takes. This approach aligns more closely with classic epics from earlier decades than with current fast-paced superhero films. The film can also be compared to historical war dramas. Its depiction of rebellion against imperial control mirrors stories of resistance movements throughout history. The focus on political negotiation and strategy resembles epic historical cinema rather than purely futuristic spectacle. Overall, Dune, Part 2 fits within the science fiction genre while maintaining a distinct identity. It shares scale and ambition with classics but distinguishes itself through moral complexity, visual restraint, and thematic seriousness. Villeneuve's direction connects it to his previous thoughtful works, reinforcing his reputation as a filmmaker who values atmosphere and depth over spectacle alone. The ending of Dune, Part 2, delivers both victory and uncertainty. On the surface, Paul Atreides achieves everything he set out to accomplish. He defeats House Harkonnen, overthrows Emperor Shaddam IV, and secures control over Arrakis. However, beneath this apparent triumph lies a complex and uneasy resolution. The final moments of the film suggest that Paul's rise to power may bring consequences far beyond the desert planet. The climactic duel between Paul and Feyd-Rautha marks the emotional peak of the story. Feyd represents brutality and ambition without hesitation. When Paul defeats him in combat, it symbolizes more than personal victory. It represents the end of direct Harkonnen dominance over Arrakis. Yet the fight is not portrayed as glorious. It is intense and serious. Paul wins, but the cost of that victory feels heavy. The duel reinforces the idea that power must often be claimed through sacrifice. After Feyd's death, Paul confronts Emperor Shaddam IV. Instead of seeking revenge alone, Paul demonstrates strategic calculation. He forces the emperor to abdicate and demands political recognition. This moment confirms Paul's transformation. He is no longer reacting to events. He is shaping them. He understands that military success alone is not enough. Political legitimacy is required to secure lasting control. The decision to marry Princess Irulan carries major symbolic and emotional weight. Politically, it unites Paul's rebellion with the imperial bloodline. It strengthens his claim to the throne and stabilizes his authority. However, on a personal level, the choice creates distance between Paul and Chani. Throughout the film, Chani represents emotional honesty and skepticism toward prophecy. When Paul chooses political marriage over personal loyalty, it signals that he has fully embraced the role of ruler rather than lover. Chani's reaction in the final scenes adds depth to the ending. She does not celebrate Paul's victory. Instead, her disappointment reflects the cost of ambition. Her silence suggests doubt about what Paul's rule will become. This emotional separation hints that power may isolate Paul from those closest to him. Another crucial element of the ending is Paul's prescient vision of a holy war. Throughout the film, he sees glimpses of a violent future carried out in his name. By accepting leadership and imperial authority, he may be setting those events into motion. The film does not show the war itself, but it strongly implies that Paul's rise will inspire fanaticism across the galaxy. This possibility reframes the victory as potentially dangerous. The ending leaves viewers questioning whether Paul had a true choice. Did he follow destiny, or did he create it? The film suggests that even with foresight, avoiding certain outcomes may be impossible. Paul chooses the path that secures power and protects Arrakis, but it may unleash wider conflict. Unlike traditional heroic conclusions, the final tone is serious and reflective. There is no triumphant celebration. The music and pacing remain controlled. Paul stands as emperor, but the atmosphere carries tension rather than joy. This approach reinforces the central theme that leadership brings responsibility and moral burden. Ultimately, the ending of Dune, Part 2, is both a conclusion and a beginning. It resolves the immediate conflict but opens the door to future consequences. Paul achieves dominance, yet his transformation suggests that absolute power may come at the cost of humanity.
Dune, Part 2, was produced on a large scale, reflecting the ambition of its story and visual scope. The reported production budget was approximately $190 million. This substantial investment covered international filming locations, large practical sets, advanced visual effects, and a cast of high-profile actors. Marketing expenses were additional and significant, as the studio aimed to position the film as a major cinematic event. The financial commitment demonstrated confidence in both the franchise and director Denis Villeneuve's long-term vision. Filming took place across multiple countries, including Hungary, Jordan, Italy, and the United Arab Emirates. Shooting in real desert environments increased production costs, but enhanced authenticity. The use of IMAX cameras and large-format presentation also contributed to expenses. These technical decisions were made to maximize immersive experience rather than reduce cost. Upon release in early 2024, the film generated strong anticipation. The first installment had already built a dedicated audience, and fans of Frank Herbert's novel were eager to see the conclusion. The delay from its originally planned 2023 release, caused by industry strikes affecting promotional schedules, may have increased anticipation rather than reducing interest. The box office performance reflected that anticipation. Dune, Part 2, opened strongly in international markets before its wide domestic release. The global opening weekend numbers were impressive, signaling broad appeal beyond science fiction fans. In its first weeks, the film consistently topped box office charts. It attracted both returning viewers and new audiences drawn by positive word of mouth. Domestic performance in the United States was strong, supported by premium format ticket sales such as IMAX. The large-scale visual design encouraged viewers to seek theatrical presentation rather than waiting for streaming options. International markets also responded enthusiastically, particularly in regions where epic science fiction and action films traditionally perform well. Within months, the film surpassed several $100 million globally, solidifying its status as one of the highest-grossing films of 2024. While exact totals continued to rise over time, it was clear that the movie successfully justified its budget. The strong box office performance also strengthened the possibility of adapting further installments from the Dune series. Critical reception was largely positive. Reviewers praised Denis Villeneuve's direction, the scale of the production, and the film's commitment to serious storytelling. Many critics highlighted Timothée Chalamet's performance as a major strength, noting his convincing transformation from uncertain youth to commanding leader. Zendaya's expanded role also received praise for adding emotional depth. Austin Butler's portrayal of Phaedratha drew attention for its intensity and distinct presence. Critics appreciated the film's refusal to simplify moral complexity. Rather than presenting a traditional heroic narrative, it maintained thematic weight and ambiguity. Technical aspects such as cinematography, sound design, and visual effects were widely commended. Reviewers frequently described the film as immersive and visually stunning. The score by Hans Zimmer was again recognized for enhancing atmosphere without overpowering dialogue. Audience reception mirrored critical response. Viewers praised the film's scale and seriousness. Some audiences noted the slower pacing compared to other blockbusters, but many appreciated the deliberate storytelling. Fans of the novel particularly valued the faithful adaptation of key events from the source material. Awards discussion quickly followed the release. While long-term award outcomes were still developing, industry analysts predicted recognition in technical categories such as cinematography, visual effects, and sound design. Overall, Dune, Part 2 proved to be both a commercial and critical success. Its strong financial performance validated the large production investment. Its reception reinforced Denis Villeneuve's reputation as a director capable of delivering thoughtful and visually ambitious cinema on a blockbuster scale.
Dune, Part 2, is a film that rewards repeat viewing. While its first watch delivers spectacle, emotional intensity, and narrative payoff, additional viewings reveal deeper layers of meaning, subtle character shifts, and carefully planted details. The film's complexity and restraint make it especially valuable for audiences who enjoy analyzing storytelling beyond surface-level action. One of the main reasons for its strong rewatch value is thematic depth. On a first viewing, viewers may focus primarily on Paul's rise, the large-scale battles, and the confrontation with the Harkonnens. On subsequent viewings, attention often shifts toward the moral ambiguity behind those events. Paul's transformation feels different when viewers already know his final decisions. Early moments of hesitation carry more weight when seen in light of his ultimate acceptance of power. The film's visual design also encourages repeat viewing. Wide desert landscapes, subtle lighting contrasts, and carefully framed compositions contain small details that may not be fully noticed during the first experience. The contrast between Fremen environments and Harkonnen spaces becomes clearer with attention. Production design choices, costume textures, and background elements reveal additional world-building depth when examined more closely. Dialogue is another element that benefits from rewatching. Because the screenplay avoids excessive exposition, some lines carry layered meaning. Statements about prophecy, destiny, and leadership can be interpreted differently after understanding the ending. Conversations between Lady Jessica and the Fremen take on added significance when viewed as strategic influence rather than simple belief. Character performances also gain richness on repeat viewings. Timothée Chalamet's gradual physical and vocal transformation as Paul becomes more noticeable. Subtle changes in posture, tone, and facial expression mark stages of his evolution. Zendaya's portrayal of Chani reveals emotional shifts that become clearer when audiences track her growing skepticism. Austin Butler's restrained menace as Phaedrotha feels more deliberate when observed closely. The film's pacing, which some viewers initially describe as slow, often feels more purposeful during a second watch. Scenes that seem quiet on first viewing reveal narrative groundwork for later events. The deliberate rhythm reinforces the epic structure rather than delaying action unnecessarily. From an audience takeaway perspective, Dune, Part 2 leaves viewers reflecting on power and responsibility. Unlike films that end with clear triumph, this story concludes with moral uncertainty. Paul achieves dominance, but his visions of future conflict remain. This unresolved tension encourages discussion. Viewers may debate whether Paul had alternatives or whether destiny forced his choices. The film also prompts reflection on faith and leadership. It challenges the idea of a perfect hero. Paul is intelligent and strategic, but his decisions carry consequences. The story encourages audiences to question charismatic authority and consider how belief can shape entire societies. Emotionally, the relationship between Paul and Chani leaves a lasting impression. Their bond represents humanity within political ambition. The tension introduced by Paul's political marriage suggests that personal sacrifice often accompanies leadership. This emotional complexity adds depth to the takeaway experience. Ultimately, Dune, Part 2, offers more than visual spectacle. It delivers layered storytelling that continues to resonate after the credits. Its rewatch value lies in its balance of epic scale and intimate character development. Each viewing allows audiences to discover new details and reconsider earlier assumptions. Dune, Part 2, was released as a major theatrical event, and the way it is watched can significantly impact the experience. Because the film was designed with large-scale visuals, immersive sound, and careful pacing, it benefits greatly from being seen in the highest quality format available. Understanding the different viewing options helps audiences decide how to experience it in the most effective way. The film first premiered in theaters worldwide in early 2024. Its initial release focused heavily on premium large formats such as IMAX. Denis Villeneuve has often emphasized the importance of the big screen experience, and this sequel was specifically framed and shot with large format presentation in mind. IMAX screenings provide expanded aspect ratios during key scenes, especially desert sequences and large battles. The scale of sandworms, ships, and landscapes feels more overwhelming on a giant screen. Standard theatrical screenings also deliver strong visual impact. Even without IMAX, the cinematography maintains clarity and scale. However, premium formats such as Dolby Cinema or other high-resolution projection systems enhance contrast and sound depth. These formats provide richer blacks, sharper highlights, and more dynamic audio range, which strengthen the immersive quality of the film. Sound quality is particularly important for this movie. The layered sound design and Hans Zimmer's score gain more power in theaters equipped with advanced surround systems. The deep rumble of sandworms and subtle environmental sounds are more noticeable in high-quality audio environments. Watching the film in a space with strong sound calibration adds emotional weight to key moments. After its theatrical run, the film became available for digital purchase and rental through major online platforms. Digital versions allow viewers to watch at home with high-definition or ultra-high-definition options. For those with large televisions and surround sound systems, the home experience can still be impactful. Streaming services may also include the film in their catalog depending on distribution agreements. Availability can vary by region and time. Physical media formats such as Blu-ray and 4K Ultra HD editions provide another viewing option. These releases often include enhanced image quality and superior audio tracks compared to standard streaming compression. Collectors and fans of the franchise may prefer physical copies for consistent visual fidelity and bonus features. Behind-the-scenes content, commentary tracks, and making-of documentaries are commonly included in these editions. For viewers watching at home, certain adjustments can improve the experience. Watching in a dark room reduces glare and enhances contrast. Using a quality sound system or headphones increases immersion. Because the film's pacing is deliberate and dialogue can be subtle, minimizing distractions helps maintain engagement. It is generally recommended to watch Dune, Part 2 after viewing the first installment. While the sequel continues the story directly, it assumes familiarity with earlier events and characters. Watching both films close together provides stronger narrative continuity and emotional investment. Subtitles may enhance understanding for some viewers. The film includes fictional languages and quiet dialogue in certain scenes. Subtitles can help clarify meaning without disrupting immersion. Ultimately, the best way to watch Dune, Part 2 depends on personal preference and access. The theatrical experience offers unmatched scale and audio power. High-quality home systems provide convenience and comfort while maintaining visual detail. Regardless of format, the film's immersive design rewards focused viewing. Choosing a setting that emphasizes visual clarity and strong sound will allow the story's scale, emotion, and thematic depth to be fully appreciated. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more gripping movie explanations like this.